Hey cool people, I'm Nick, I'm a he/him, and today my sanity is gone, because we're playing Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, and it gets worse. We're going to get Riku to level 99. We won't cover a during the story portion for Riku, because unlike in Sora's level guide, Riku's postgame is much more important. My total playtime was 14 hours and 23 minutes, and literally half of that was the endgame level grind. I don't want to live. I don't want to live anymore. But for those who do care about mid-story leveling, I'll put up this image to show my world order and what levels I was by the end of each floor. Though 4 levels of floor after the first floor is fine. With all that said, strike the like button, and let's slip into our Pimpalicious Purple Muscle Suit by Gucci, accented by Armani's very own Creme de la Grasse butt skirt. And let's dash into this video. Now normally I like to compare and contrast strategies that people put online, maybe try some stuff no one has thought of, and do some quick math in order to find the fastest route. And compared to my Kingdom Hearts Final Mix guide, Riku has no such ground to break, because Riku only has 2 strategies. Strategy 1, killing myself, but that's suboptimal, right? Which is why I like strategy 2, killing myself but while I'm in a target. I know, right? Flirty and classy. I joke, but this grind is exhaustive, so be sure to have some videos or podcasts ready in the background. This is a long haul kind of grind. Now I'm going to present these 2 strategies with all my data, compare their variants, and let you, the viewer, decide which way you want to do it. And in the description, I'll still link the videos and creators I found who detailed the strategies I'm presenting. Both strategies are in the basement floor 1, aka Castle Oblivion, and none involve killing ourselves. Strategy 1, strong initiative plus Neo Shadow plus escaping. For this strategy, we will be escaping fights, so if you want the trophy for no fights escaped, I recommend beating Ansem first, then doing this strategy. Anyway, basically what we do is create a strong initiative room, run to the Neo Shadow at the top of the 3rd set of stairs, and attack it. Always attack an enemy in this room, so that the first wave of enemies will spawn with drastically lower health. From here, we can get 3 possible spawns. Spawn A, which has 2 Red Dead Redemptions, 2 Green Requiem, 2 Angry Birds, 3 regular shadows, and 2 Jimbro shadows. For this fight, we stack our first 3 cards and attack the right wyvern from behind. Then, stack the next 3 cards, and try to defeat as many enemies as possible with it. Be sure to leave 1 heartless remaining, and then escape. Spawn B, which has 2 Red Nocturne, 2 Neo Shadow, and 5 Shadows. For this one, we'll make like a tree and get out. Leave a comment if you would like me to branch out with my tree humor. Okay. Lastly, Spawn C, which has 2 Wyvern and 3 Neo Shadow, will stack the first 3 cards, attack the right Wyvern from behind, run to the corner that's opposite the left Wyvern, and then stack the next 3 cards while trying to defeat the remaining Neo Shadows without defeating the Wyvern. Then, we'll get out, leave, right now. I tested this strategy for 5 minutes, and if you'd like to replicate this, the timer started from when I entered the room itself and ended at the escape closest to 5 minutes. With this strategy, I got 14,428 EXP in 300 seconds, which, after some quick mathematic, divides out to 48.1 EXP per second. EPS for short. Now there's a few variants of this as well. We can use the Genie Jafar enemy card to make sure we don't get card broked by stragglers. And we can also use the Dragon Maleficent enemy card to do extra damage. I then did a 5-minute test while adding Genie Jafar. I got 12,705 EXP in 297 seconds, just under the 5 minutes, which came out to 42.8 EPS. Now that's what I call awful. And with Dragon Maleficent, I got 14,708 EXP in 305 seconds, which divides out to 48.2, basically the same as the no Dragon Maleficent strategy. So the reason I'm mentioning these variants is because when we are doing this strategy, we gotta do what feels best to us. It's a long grind and we don't want it to be any more taxing than it already will be. So if you hate being card broken, then use Genie Jafar in exchange for just like going a little bit longer, you know, that sort of thing. Also, if we accidentally defeat this Neo Shadow spawn atop the 3rd set of stairs, then I'm throwing myself off the roof. Thankfully, before I did that, I found another Neo Shadow on top of the 4th set of stairs. If that one is beaten, Then I'll throw myself off the roof. Except, there is one more viable spawn to the left of the second stairs in the corner. Well, there's technically two here, but the one closer to the exit door is much easier to repeatedly fight and escape from. But if we defeat all three of those spawns... Or maybe we can just make a new strong initiative room and try again. Moving on to... Strategy 2. Dark Mode plus Air Spin with the Lexaeus enemy card. Lexaeus' enemy card has a random chance to make enemies warp away on a combo finisher, while still dropping their EXP. And the Dark Mode Air Spin, which is jumping then attacking, counts as a combo finisher every time we use it, so we can just spin around the room warping enemies out of existence. The real contentious point for this strategy is what room is best. So, I did more 5-minute tests, same timer start as before, and here's my data. Feeble Darkness was 58.2 EXP per second, EPS. Teeming Darkness was 49.8 EPS, Lasting Days was 48.9 EPS, Martial Waking was 37.4 EPS, and Bottomless Darkness was 18.6 EPS. Now immediately you'll notice Feeble Darkness, Teeming Darkness, and Lasting Days, by raw numbers, are higher than Strategy 1 or its variants. And I'm fairly certain the reason for this is human error, and the fact Strategy 1 takes some practice, because comparatively, Strategy 2 has a much lower skill ceiling and much more room for error. The second thing you'll notice is I didn't do every room. I'm using Teeming Darkness as a stand-in for any room that doesn't change Riku's deck or the enemies' decks, though some rooms are worse than others. So we're gonna go with Feeble Darkness, and before you comment it, no, stop typing that Martial Waking comment. Let me address it. It's bad, cause 1, it just has worse EPS, but also, reason B, it doesn't account for the fact Neo Shadows can play an 8 card whenever they want, meaning we'll still be getting card broken semi-frequently, as only our 9s can effectively break their 8s. So we only have one card that can card break them, whereas in Feeble Darkness their 8s drop to a 6, and we can now break their strongest card with our 9s, our 8s, and 7s, and that makes it just so much less likely for us to get card broken. Anyway, in Feebly Deebly, we're going to clear the room. Here's the route. The strategy is, immediately use the Lexaeus enemy card at the beginning of the fight, with the goal of turning Dark Mode ASAP as possible. Then we'll just repeatedly jump and spin attack to randomly warp enemies away. These are the possible spawns. From Red Nocturne only spawn, we have Spawn A, which initially contains 2 Red Nocturne, 2 Blue Rhapsody, 2 Greenest Grappus, 2 rejected Big Mouth characters, and 2 Neo Shadow. Spawn B, again from a Red Nocturne only, spawns 2 Red Nocturnes and 1 Dance Water Dance. Spawn C can come from Red Nocturnes or Neo Shadow, which begins with 2 Red Nocturnes, 1 Chain Chomp off the chain, and 4 Neo Shadow. Spawn D from only Red Nocturnes initially spawns 2 Red Nocturnes and 1 Dark Magician. Freaking Yu-Gi-Oh cosplayers, man. Spawn E can be found in either Red Nocturnes or Neo Shadows, and it begins with 3 Floating and Flaming, 1 VV but make it evil, and 2 Neo Shadow. We will actually immediately leave this spawn, and I'll explain why later. Spawn F, which can only be found in a Neo Shadow, spawns 6 Neo Shadows to start, and for this we'll... Lastly, Spawn G, only found in a Neo Shadow, contains 2 Cold Blueies, 1 Dark Ball, 1 Wizard, and 2 Neo Shadows. And these are the EXP per second for each spawn. The 36.1 and 54.9 for spawns E and F are why we skip them. It's faster to escape and re-enter combat with the aim of getting any of the other viable 5 spawns. So, to reiterate, if you get a spawn with Neo Shadows surrounding Riku, or one with 2 Neo Shadows, 3 Red Nocturnes, and a Wizard... Okay, so here's the big thing. All this math is great, but if there's one thing I've learned, it's that theoretical math is practically unpractical for practice or in practicing practice, and doesn't account for human error. So what I did was level up from 95 to 99 with both strategies, to see how practically practical they were in practicing practice. Firstly, there are some things we can do to speed them up. If we're getting low on health in Strategy 1, we can use the Oogie Boogie card to heal. Additionally, if we're stuck and unable to escape, Using a Mickey stacked on a single attack card will stun the enemy or enemies, allowing for an easier escape, as long as that stack totals 9 or above. In Strategy 2, we can escape sometimes to extend the life of the room, creating less rooms overall and saving some time. And also, when in dark mode, we can put ourselves in a corner so that we can air spin the enemies while they're on top of us, ideally defeating the majority at once, if not all of them. Now for the straight up data. Gay up data if you'd prefer. Strategy 1 took 48 minutes and 50 seconds, aka 2,930 seconds, to get from levels 95 to 99. I got 133,760 EXP in that time, and when divided out, I gained 45.6 EPS, which was only slightly slower than the 5-minute test. For Strategy 2, it took me 39 minutes and 19 seconds, or 2,359 seconds, which mathematic out to 56.7 EPS, which again was only slightly slower than my 5-minute test, so good. In practice was nearly as practically practical as when not in practicing practice. So Strategy 2 is faster by raw numbers, but there is another aspect I haven't mentioned. Since we repeatedly clear Feeble Darkness, we will have to collect more than one of them as we go, likely making roulette rooms a necessary evil. And for me, a roulette room took about 10 minutes to clear out, so if we account for that, these strategies end up very similar time-wise. To compare and contrast, Strategy 1 has a higher skill ceiling and less room for error, and is slower by my raw numbers, but is used by speedrunners and doesn't require us to make additional rooms outside of messing up. So, it may actually be faster once we've adapted to it. Conversely, Strategy 2 is much easier to learn and is faster by my raw numbers, but it does have the setback of having to repeatedly create rooms and potentially running through roulette rooms for more cards, adding additional time we could be using to get more EXP more efficiently. So those are the only real options, unfortunately. I'm personal to Strategy 2, but hey, like they say, try both, pick a side. And thanks so much for watching. I hope this video helps you get to 99 with Riku with relative ease. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and comment what video series or podcast you listen to help the other grinders not die of boredom. And I hope to see you next time. Goodbye!